Oh, did I break it? I might have broken it. Ah! What is up, guys? Welcome back. So today we are going to be playing with Rosie Huntington Whitely's new makeup line called Rosie Inc. I picked up at least one of everything currently. I did not do the skincare, but I've already done some nice little skin prep here. I will share with you guys in a second. But I picked up 2 blushes, brow. They sent a gift with purchase brow because I ordered through her website, the concealer and the lip. I'm gonna move you guys in. Stop, just, you know, I'm gonna put some makeup on my face. I've done this intro like 5 times. Anyway, I'm gonna move y'all in, put some makeup on my face, talk about the claims and the pricing on this initial release, and then we will chat final thoughts at the end and whether or not I think this is worth anybody's money. So let's go ahead and jump in. That was the best I could do. Yeah, sometimes I want to be really polished and it's just not willing to happen with the connection of my brain to my mouth. So it's gonna be one of those videos today, guys. Probably lots of jump cuts. So yeah, I started with the Mcgrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Primer. It's very nice and hydrating. Now, she didn't put out a foundation. I didn't watch any videos, tutorials, or anything on this because it seems pretty straightforward and I like to go as blind as I can. But I have already tried this look and the first thing that I noticed is this concealer is a little more than meets the eye. I'm going to start with a little bit of body sauce, and I'm doing that because since there is no foundation, I'm gonna kind of work from too dark and too light towards the middle. Okay, so this is the concealer. This is the shade LX010, and the first thing that I noticed about this when I tried it the first time was that it is massively, insanely pigmented. As high coverage as you could ever want. It kind of reminds me of the Niacinamide in the sense that it's like that highly concentrated formula that you could mix with anything and make it whatever opacity you really wanted to, but that used straight out of the tube, it would cover a tattoo. So that is neat. It's a cool thing to have in your repertoire, especially a formula that really dries down and behaves not like makeup that would be in a makeup artist kit. It's a little bit more user-friendly than that, so that is why I'm putting it on the back of my hand. There we go. And it's because I'm gonna just put it on with a brush. Like a small concealer brush, because you could use this as a foundation. It's that intense. So, grabbing my little Rare Beauty concealer brush here, and I'm going to like shear this out on my hand, and you're gonna see why. It kind of reminds me of the way that I approached the Violette FR eyeshadows, the liquid eyeshadows, because it's like you put a little bit on and it goes and goes and goes, but that's such a good thing. As long as you know what you're getting yourself into, it's a really, really good thing in a concealer because you get so much bang for your buck. And this might be a little bit too light of a shade for me. You know, I went on the internet. I didn't go in person. I wanted to get this as soon as it was released, and I don't even think that it was in Sephora at that point to even be swatched. So how crazy is that? That eye to that eye. That was the smallest amount of product and it just like did the best job of concealing and camouflaging and color canceling. I'm able to make this work pretty well, but like look at that. If I accidentally pick up a little bit too much product, it really is so intensely pigmented. It's actually really awesome. See, it's a little bit light. It's a little bit light for my summertime skin, and for the body sauce, maybe without the body sauce it would have been fine, but we're gonna blend, we're gonna make it work. And I mean, I've still got plenty to work with here. I'm gonna go around my little redness. Goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And even just the sheer layer that I am applying still has such high coverage. Look at me. Got Zoobly Zoo face. This is very much like the first thing that I thought of when I started using it with a tiny brush like this was how well it would work for Lisa Eldridge's method of pinpoint concealing when you get done putting on a very sheer face of makeup, but you do have maybe a little bit of like blemished skin. To go into the spots that need extra camouflaging, this is the kind of concealer that you could put on a pinpoint brush and erase your sins. And I'm becoming a reflective surface too. I might turn my lights down a little bit. Is that better? I think that might be better. You know, depending on how much light there is outside, I have to adapt with my lights. So I want you guys to be able to see it. And since this is a little bit light for me, it made me a little bit reflective. But like, if you wanted to, you could use this as a full coverage foundation with the amount of product that I put on the back of my hand. Like, I still have so much that I'm not going to use. And the first time that I put this on, I put it on like a regular concealer. I just like dot, 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 dot. And then I started blending and I was like, whoa. It like wiped out my whole face. I was like, oops. And it has like a really nice satin finish that basically means that you don't have to powder it if you don't want to. You know, you can, but it's not giving me any reflectiveness, which is nice, you know? Let's go ahead and just do a little bit of bronzer and then we'll get into these blushes. So I've been really loving this 105 brush from BK. She's huge. It's like this big buffing brush. So it's really meant for creams because it's, you know, a domed brush like that, but it's massive and I just love the luxury of pounding that into my Fenty cream bronzer and just being done in one go. I will probably still use a little bit of my Salt New York highlighter to blend when I get done putting on my blush because this concealer is still a little bit light comparatively. Maybe I'll turn this guy down too. What do you think? Is that better? Yeah, now you can really see. And now we will go in with these blushes. So I picked up Heliotrope, which is this lovely Dusty Rose shade. And I also got Azalea, which is this very beautiful nuanced berry. And it has little pinpoints back here. Yeah, so that you can actually punch the pan out and it is replaceable. The packaging is really nice. It kind of reminds me of Rare Beauty in the sense that it's not super, super heavy luxury, but the shape is really unique and it just feels quality in your hands. You know, it's got kind of a nice mattification on the outside and everything. I can't decide whether that's metal or plastic. It's metal on the inside. Either way, got a mirror. It's just nice. I like it. So I'm going to start with Heliotrope because it is, as airbrushing blush techniques go, the lighter, you know, the one that's going to be more likely to blend right in. So I'm gonna go with that. These have a funky consistency to them as they relate to other cream blushes in my collection. You know, you think of a cream blush as being either really slippy or really stiff. This one is, it's almost like a lip product. That's what it feels like. It is a lot of resistance. When you touch your finger in it, there's a lot of resistance and it's like incredibly highly pigmented. I shouldn't say highly pigmented. It's opaque. That's the word I'm looking for. So yeah, that Heliotrope shade probably won't look good on every skin tone because it is quite opaque. It reminds me a little bit of the Cure Weiss in that sense, where the pigment is not a watercolor. It looks more like a lipstick or something, you know, as opposed to a lip gloss. And that's going to, I'm not sure how every shade is going to behave, you know, but that's definitely going to influence how it works on different skin tones. So anyway, it does take a little bit of effort to kind of get it started on the brush just because it's a little bit stiffer. It really feels like you're working kind of with a lip gloss, or not a lip gloss, a lipstick. Maybe it's what I imagine the suede lip compacts from Westman Atelier being like. But I've never tried them, so don't take my word for it. But yeah, like I said, not super intensely pigmented. Like I'm not having trouble, oh my gosh, getting carried away, putting too much on and like regretting it. More so it's adding a little bit of coverage, which is interesting to me. It's okay. The regrowth is so obnoxious. I know I complain about it all the time, but it's just gross. Like I just hate how I have all of these little dumb hairs sticking to my face all the time. The first thing that I thought about these when I first used them was I was like, this is like, a foundation blush. Like, it's like blush that behaves as thickly and as intensely creamily as a cream foundation, you know? And I think that that's what's so interesting about it because it's like she didn't put out a foundation. So it's almost like, hey, since there's room on your face, we're gonna put this slightly more intense. Maybe heavier is the word, but heavy I typically associate also with something staying kind of wet and sticky, and this doesn't really, it's a little bit sticky. Maybe at the amounts that I like to put on. But it doesn't pick up a lot, which is nice, and it's just, like, it doesn't look really shiny on the skin. All right, now I'm going to go in with Azalea. This is actually, that's a pretty good shade if you're describing that as azalea, you know? I've definitely seen azaleas that color. This is just a gorgeous berry that's a little bit different. Like, it's got a little more blue in it. You can see when it kind of reflects. It's not shimmery or anything, but in certain light, you can see the little bit of blue in there a little bit better. And I'm just, whoops, that's okay. Using that more towards the high points here. Just because I have so much real estate towards the back of my cheeks, I don't want that to get lost. And that's gonna give me a little bit more of a believable, like, sun-chapped Fjord's cheeks kind of look. Whereas if I just wanted it to be, you know, not so blush forward, I could just stick with heliotrope. So yeah, very pretty. I'm able to build up the saturation that I want from it without feeling like I have a mucky texture on my face. And the colors are a little bit more off the beaten path than I was expecting. You know, just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna take the synthetic brush that I typically use and my Salt New York palette, and I'm gonna go into the beige highlight and use that to just obscure that line so that it's blended a little bit better. A little highlight moment. Am I Rosie Huntington Whitely yet? Because I feel pretty cute. So we now have her lip, and I would typically wear this with a lip liner, but I just want to show it to you guys on its own. So I got the shade Abstraction. This is the lip color, literally called lip color. And this is what she looks like. I want to swatch that against the heliotrope shade. Heliotrope is more of like a ballerina pink, and the lip shade is a little bit more like peachy. But these are soft matte lip crayons, basically. And so A, that's kind of outside my comfort zone, but B, this can also double as a cheek. You know, there's no reason you couldn't use this as a blush. Beautiful color. Still, not really a finish that I typically go for. And does this have, oh, did I break it? I might have broken it. Ah! Well, I broke the entire lip crayon off because I was wondering if there was a sharpener in the back of it, and so I twisted it and I broke it. So don't do that, okay? Do not be me. Anyway, I'm gonna store that upright. It's not as dry feeling on the lips as the Bite Beauty Power Move Matte Lip. Similar amount of pigment. And it doesn't have a scent or anything, which is nice. Okay, and then finally we have her brow product. And this is going to be the last thing of hers that I apply before we just kind of go into editorializing on this. So actually there are two. This, like I said, was sent as a gift with purchase, and it is a clear, and then I have 04 in her Tinted Brow Gel. And this one has a triangular brush on it, and the clear one has a round brush on it. And I don't know why they're different, but they are. This is just basically a brown. And I will say, it's a little bit difficult, I guess because of the depth of the brush, to get to the product that's on the interior of this spoolie. I feel like I would need to like really mash it down against my skin. And since I'm not willing to, I kind of just have to go backwards to get it actually coated on my brow hairs, and then groom them into shape. And that's still not really enough brow for me and not really enough hold for me. It's definitely not waxy. It's, you know, got a little bit of body to it, the actual product, but doesn't have a lot of presence altogether, honestly. Because I've definitely used brow products in the past that if I did what I'm doing right now, it would be a whole mess. But you really like kind of gotta put in the time with this. And I don't dislike it. It definitely has an effect. I've definitely used some that I like really, really don't like. But it's still like, no matter how much I put on, I'm not gonna get the amount of brow that I want. And it still ends up a little bit flat, you know, like they're really dark, but that's it. There's not a whole lot of like hold or dimension or anything. So anyway, we're gonna wait on the clear. I'm gonna use that at the end to kind of groom everything. But first we're going to go in on my eyes. I'm gonna use my Utopian Dream palette, and I'm really only going to use like 2 or 3 shades in here. I'm gonna start with this one. This is gonna be mainly my like local color. This beautiful brown. Just an absolutely gorgeous coppery brown. I'm gonna go all over my lids with that and underneath and blend all around and make kind of a smoky thing. Next, I'm going to take a little BB brush right here, and I'm going to use this pearly shade as my inner corner highlight and brow bone. And finally, I'm just going to take this beautiful color right here that has kind of an oil slick shift to it, and I'm going to put that right on top of my lids here and a little bit underneath. All right, I'm gonna throw on eyeliner and mascara and we'll be right back, okay? Okay, so before I get into finishing touches on my face here, I wanted to show you guys a couple of comparison swatch situations. So this is the comparison for heliotrope. So this one right here is heliotrope. This is actually the Lisa Eldridge Pink Soap. This is the Make It by Mario Dusty Rose, which is like very purple compared to these. I was actually really surprised. This is, what is this? Khaki. Oh, this is Bread and Butter from Danessa Myrick, so much like Peacher. And then this is the Rosie Inc. Rose Inc? Rosie Inc. Rose Inc. Oh God, has it been called Rose Inc the whole time and I said Rosie Inc? I can't remember. Either way, it is less pigmented and a little bit more violet, somewhere in between these two, I would say. So this is Azalea from Rosie. This is Oh She's Different, the cream from Patrick Ta, and then this is After Hours from Tower 28. So these are just like, you know, 2 of my favorite kind of fjordsy shades, and so hers fits right in there. It is a little bit redder. It just had a little bit more red in it, which I'm not mad about. It's interesting though that I thought looking at it, I was like, oh, it's got some blue in it. It does have blue in it, but not nearly as much as After Hours from Tower 28. Very interesting. Okay, so speaking of finishing touches here, first of all, I need to fix my freaking eyebrows. I am just not satisfied with the amount of brow that I have right now, so I'm gonna go in with this Refi. And if you're like, Khaki, why don't you know the name of it? Because there's nothing printed on this thing. All it says is medium. Like, it's just a thing. And that's kind of a common thing. People just like, brands aren't putting the names of products, and they have elaborate names, but they don't put them on the actual product itself. So how am I supposed to retain what it's called? All right, let's go in with the Rose Inc clear here. I actually think I prefer the clear. I don't really know why. I just think it actually does a good job. It actually adds a little bit of sheen, which is what I want when something is defining my brows. That's better. You know, I still feel like I could fill them in more, but I'm not going to spend any more time on this. The only other thing I really want to do here, because a matte lip is just not my thing, it doesn't feel finished, I thought this was a really good opportunity to bring in one of the Fit Glow Lip Color Serums. This is in the shade Beach Glow, and it came in a box that I have torn up, but it is the State of Kate's Favorites collection that she had sent to me, and I had never actually had any of the Fit Glow lip serums in their full size. They're enormous! Look at this thing! They're huge, and this one has a really interesting shift to it, like a really beautiful reflective quality to it, and it's going to very much pull in that same quality that's in my eyes. Look at that. This is a nice topper. Yeah, I'm not really satisfied with the skin. I would like to put more work into some contour and things like that. Just a quick contour moment, just a quick one. Out. We're gonna chat about these products and then I will give you my final thoughts on them, but yeah. I don't know why this didn't turn out exactly the same way that it did the last time. Hopefully it looks better on camera than it does in person. Okay, Rose Inc. I do not know if I said Rosie Inc at one point, but it is called Rose Inc and I apologize. So each of these Blush Divine Radiant Lip and Chic is $30 for 4.5 grams. Comes in 6 shades, a hydrating cream that brightens and blurs with a radiant flush of color. This pigment-rich formula contains a spectrum of skincare ingredients that improve skin health with each use. Hydrating squalene, protective vitamin E, don't ever call out vitamin E, everything has vitamin E in it, and shine minimizing marine ferment extract, long wearing and buildable, it melts into skin for a smooth complexion that glows. Ideal for dull and dry skin. So as far as her sustainability of her packaging is concerned, it says there are no added weights, no unnecessary plastic or glass, caps and boxes will not be made any larger than necessary. Let's talk about this concealer. I don't know how many shades there are, I cannot tell. A Does It All concealer that brightens, blurs, and contours while nourishing the skin. This is also $30. This long-wearing liquid formula minimizes the look of fine lines, redness, and discoloration for an even complexion that glows. Enriched with hydrating squalene, protective vitamin E, and color corrective botanicals, it delivers a comfortable wear with buildable coverage. Buildable. It says medium buildable coverage. I think that it has one of the most impressively flexible coverage levels I've ever seen. Like, medium is the least it's gonna do. So just be warned as you're putting it on, because like you're gonna put too much on the first time. Unless you like apply it someplace else first, a palette or your hand. Light creamy texture, won't crease or cake. I will say, when I ended up with too much of it on my face, it still didn't look cakey. It was pretty awesome. Long wearing 24-hour moisture. I like that all this stuff is kind of moisturizing, especially if you're gonna make a concealer, because I want my under eyes to, you know, look hydrated. 80% of users saw a decrease in complexion redness after 30 days. That's pretty neat. We could all use some benefits, some anti-inflammatory benefits to the redness in our skin that we're typically covering up with a concealer. Lip Sculpt Amplifying Color, $26 for that little crayon I broke. Comes in, looks like 6 shades. An enriched long-wearing lip crayon that delivers saturated matte color with the benefits of a balm. This velvet soft formula sculpts lips with a look that's smoother, fuller, and more defined. Infused with hyaluronic acid, squalene ceramides, hemp, and vitamin E, glides on to fill lips with plumping moisture as it conditions delicate skin. So it's definitely like a zero tug situation, which is really nice, and it is a very hydrating feeling product for it being matte. Clinically proven to volumize lips, 24-hour moisture, long-wearing color, high color payoff, rich in antioxidants, non-comedogenic, free of pore clogging ingredients, hydrates and conditions for soft, smooth lips. And finally, we have the Brow Renew Enriched Tinted Shaping Gel. A tinted gel that conditions, volumizes, and grooms for expertly shaped brows. This buildable sculpting serum conditions and strengthens each hair with squalene, pea sprout, and vitamins E and B5, so even sparse brows take on more substance with a smudge-proof, flake-proof formula. It sets brows in place all day. I'm getting no setting. Like, I can move my brows all over the gosh darn place, okay? Like, that's just, there's no setting happening here. For anybody who's looking for like a brow lamination situation, it's not happening. Now I have to fix what I've just done. I just thought that I would demo that. And now my eyebrows are everywhere. Okay, so I wasn't looking at my own face for a second, and then I came back and I like it. I like it. The lip pulls from like right there in the center of the eye look, so. Anyway, I'm ready to give you guys my final thoughts, product by product here. So, my favorite in the entire release is the concealer. I'm very impressed with it. I like this formula a lot. I think that this is a do-it-all concealer, which is really cool because I talk about concealers all the time, that it's like, well, here's my light coverage, here's my medium coverage, here's my buildable coverage, and here's my full coverage for, you know, nuclear option, whatever. This is a concealer that actually can be just about any concealing level, but if you're looking for very, very low coverage, make sure you nail your skin match, because the one thing about this is, I would say the lowest coverage it does is probably medium, and so you're going to end up with contrast if it is too light, like if you're using it as a brightening concealer. I think that, you know, as we move into the cooler months, this is going to be just fine for me. No problem whatsoever, but come summer, I would probably want to buy the next deeper shade in my undertone, just because this is going to show up. It's not just gonna blend into nothing. I would not call this an adaptive shade. I don't know what makes an adaptive shade in a formula, but you know, I've watched 5 different people I know who have very different undertones from me wear Eavesdrop from Fenty in the shade 2. And it works on all of us, and I don't understand why. But this is not adaptive at all, and I would definitely recommend going in and getting shade matched for it, because it's going to show up. But that's good news for a lot of people. It's gonna show up. It's gonna back you up. It's a really, really beautiful formula, and it's super, super flexible. If you actually needed to cover a tattoo or cover your whole face in it and get full coverage, it would do that with very, very little product. So I like that very much about it, and I think that it is a great value in that sense. Also, really, I want to show you guys this component. It's really pretty. It is plastic, but it's frosted. It's really heavy. It's nice. It feels really good. Okay, blushes. As much as I love blushes, it's like how tomatoes are my favorite food, but people are like, then why aren't you eating the tomatoes on your salad? I'm like, there's nothing worse when you love tomatoes than a disappointing tomato. I'm not gonna eat a mealy tomato. It's like, you know, just because I like blush doesn't mean I like every single blush. And it does take a little bit to impress me. These are unique in the sense that the formula feels very luxurious, and she didn't go too far off the beaten path, obviously, in the actual shades, but I like what she did here with the refillable packaging. I like just the component in general, even though mine came, the magnet had detached and stuck itself to the mirror. It's not a big deal. I just have to clean the mirror off. But it's a very like velvety, thick formula with a lot of color payoff, but again, if you are thinking about this, especially as you get into deeper, darker skin tones, I would go swatch it or watch somebody who has a deeper skin tone than me apply it on camera, because I cannot be sure that this is going to not pull ashy on deep skin tones because of the nature of how much opacity there is to this formula. It might be different in deeper shades. This is the fairest shade, I wanna say, the fairest pink at least, and it works beautifully on me, but that blurring that's in the claims, to me that also says coverage. And sometimes coverage, if it doesn't match your skin, you can add this like hazy gray thing, you know, on darker skin. So be aware of that. Definitely go and swatch them on your skin, and they just might need to expand the shade range if it's the case with all of them. The lip product, where did it go? Oh, that's right, I'm storing it up right. The lip product, while this is not my favorite type of lip product, a matte cream, I really, really dig the color, and I think it's a really beautiful formula. Is it worth $26? Maybe, you know, I think it's pretty enough that, you know, you could justify that, especially because these colors I feel like are very, I don't know, it's in a family of, you could probably find something that flatters you. They seem dialed in, they seem nuanced, but they're also like pretty safe and easy to use. User friendly, I guess is the word. Beginner friendly formula, more so than the concealer. I think that concealer is off the charts awesome, but at the same time, like, it could scare the living crap out of you if you're expecting a regular old concealer. But yeah, I do really like this. I'm not sure it's, you know, something that I would run out and buy just because it doesn't really fit my aesthetic, but if this is something that you would wear on your lips, it's also something very beautiful to wear on your cheeks. And finally, these here eyebrow products. skip them. You know, it's not hard, honestly, to make my brows look pretty good because they look pretty good on their own. You know, I don't have to draw brows in, but like I could be here all day trying to put this stuff on and I still end up with patchiness. It's just like, give me a break, you know? There's no hold, there's not a lot of pigment. I don't think that the brush is a good match for the formula because it doesn't pick up very much product and you can't get it from the brush to then your brows. Did I mention there's no hold? So yeah, the clear is nice just because there's a little bit of sheen to it, but you know, the Kosas one has a lot more hold and it's clear too. You know, clear's not exactly a nuanced shade, you know, it's a pretty easy thing to mimic. These are absolutely nothing to write home about and I would absolutely skip them. So those are my thoughts on Rose Inc, Rosie Huntington Whiteley's makeup line. I am definitely going to keep my eye on this line though, you know, because it's at Sephora too. And I want to see what else she comes out with. I like her style. I like the aesthetic. I like the whole thing. I think the price points are pretty good. You know, it does feel like a luxury experience and those are pretty luxurious prices, but not too high. That said, yeah, I do think there are some hits and misses. So I hope that you guys found this valuable. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you did. Thank you guys so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. I love you so much and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys. I just realized I had a cat hair stuck to my face that whole time, so I'm really sorry to everyone. Everyone, but mostly myself, who I have disappointed.